Here. Here.
Brian Fine.
Here.
And Diane Page.
Here.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to waive and approve the official meeting minutes from December at the reorganizational meeting and the December voting meeting?
So moved.
Second.
First and seconded, do I have any discussion about that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any public participation this evening?
Aaron. Whenever.
Seeing none. Presentations. Maddie Myers, I don't believe, is able to join us this evening, but you should have her report at your seat in front of you. The ACV USD cheerleading squad, coaches Stacy Fox and Emma Fox.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for letting us present this. A great opportunity has been, we have been chosen, the UHS AC Valley cheerleaders, to attend the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which is a huge deal. It is expensive, however, we plan on doing a lot of fundraising, and all the girls do not have to go, but we're trying to get as many as we possibly can. During the trip, it costs, I think it'll be like about $3,000 a kid, but that includes the room and board, meals, the Rockettes, the Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty. They get a cheerleading uniform and they get to march in the parade. 1 week long. It will be from Monday to Friday. So we're here to ask for permission from the board to be able to go ahead and start planning the trip. Soon the deposit's going to need to be made, so we have to start making arrangements, but we just found out that we were selected. So we went, as soon as we found out, we went and spoke with David, and he set us up with this meeting. So do you have any questions for us? We do have a presentation, but if you would like to see the presentation, we can email that to you. It just would probably speed things up a little bit. So do you have any questions for us? CJ.
How long is the route that they have to walk?
She's the guru on the parade, but I'm not sure of that, but we can look it up and get back to you.
Thank you.
Stace, how many students do you think will be going? Just
So
ballpark.
right now, we have about 23 cheerleaders.
Okay.
It's for grades this year, 8 through 11, because there'll be 9 through 12 next school year. So I'm assuming we only lose 3 seniors, and we're going to gain several junior high kids. So it could be more than 25, it could be 25. Again, it's going to be a challenge to get them all there. I want to try to get as many as we can there. We each are planning to go as well. But in the past, we've had kids invited to parades, but their parents have taken them. David Lutz and Aaliyah Lindemann went as junior high cheerleaders to Philadelphia over Thanksgiving.
How are you getting there? Will you take a bus or what do you do?
That's what we plan to take a bus. Actually, we have a contact, and we've kind of been trying to reach her to give us a little bit more information about like parking and those kind of things. Spectators can also go. They house us in one hotel, but the spectators have to buy a different package than we do, and I'm not taking any part of that. They're in charge of that themselves. So, where the boosters are willing to help us out as much as we can. I think it's similar to when the baseball team goes to Florida. We won't be playing any games, we'll just be marching in the parade, but they will get to see a lot of wonderful landmarks in New York City. Any other questions for us? Oh, Diane.
Yeah. Now, you're going to have a lot of rooms, right, for the kids?
So the room is included in the per cost per cheerleader, and we anticipate that the only cost that the district would have would be substitute teachers for my mom and I. But once we put our deposit in, the corporation, it's called Spirit of America, they will take care of booking our rooms and buying us tickets for all of the excursions that they plan.
So you'd be staying right in New York City or
Yeah,
New
I
Jersey?
believe it's at a Hilton hotel somewhere along the parade route so that we are easily accessible when we have to get there in the morning.
That's an awesome invitation, in my opinion.
Yeah, we were invited because Melinda Hoffman, the junior high coach, wrote a letter about our cheerleading squad. Thousands of people apply for this, and we were one of them that has the first opportunity to bypass the next process. Everybody else will have have to apply. We don't have to apply. We've already been accepted.
It's great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Oh, I was gonna say. And yeah, so we're super excited about this opportunity. You know, whether we take 1 or 25, it's an amazing event for them. And I love the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So when that was presented to me, I was like, oh, yay, I'm super excited. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to email us, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
And you want school board chaperones to go along?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sure.
Absolutely.
We can shop too, right, Gary?
Yeah. Yeah. But we do need to know as soon as possible, because I think in February, we're gonna have to pay a down payment. So we have to kind of get the ball rolling. So. All right, thank you guys so much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under presentations, we have Jeff Fowler with a update on the football field.
Good evening,
Good evening.
everybody. Good. Many of you may know my name. Some of you were co-workers of mine for many, many years. I spent 36 years working at Penn State University as an educator, like one of your board members has. I left the organization about a year and a month ago to retirement. And when I left, I started my own little consulting firm. I've been around the state doing athletic field consultations for my entire time I was at Penn State, and have worked with you folks here at AC Valley for 15 years probably. And that's probably being gentle on my memory, because I don't really remember stuff very well anymore, especially time, because I'm only 35 years old. Now I've spent 36 years at Penn State because I'm only 35. But to get to the point of me being here, the football committee asked me to come up November-ish and take a look at the football field and make some recommendations to them, which in turn are recommendations to you as a school board on how we can get over the little hurdle that we've hit, and how we can do that most cost effectively and still have a very safe and playable field when we're. So I put together, I was here, did some soil testing between Christmas and New Year's, sent those samples away to a certified lab. We've been back and forth a couple of times about things, and I put together a list of recommendations. I believe they were in your packet. If not, though, I can go over them, and I want to go over them anyway, just to give you the opportunity to fire questions at me. I will ask this. I'm a cancer survivor. Cancer was very, very difficult to get over. It was also very difficult on my hearing. Chemo took away about 97% of my hearing, so if you have questions, you're going to have to raise your hand, and I'm probably going to have to walk over to be able to hear your questions. Minor obstacle. One of the really cool things about it is if I don't want to hear you,
That's called selective hearing.
I can hear nothing when I disconnect that thing. So it comes in real handy around the house. Right, gentlemen?
Yep.
You can agree with me. Anyway, the recommendations that I have put together for the football committee to consider moving forward with the project. Do you want me to go over like the condition of where we are, or is everybody pretty fully aware?
Yeah, if you don't want to go, briefly, if you want to update everybody where we're at.
So basically, a road contractor was hired to build a football field. They built a really, really good road. Okay, 100% compaction. They should have built I-80 back in the day. It probably wouldn't have had all the issues that it's had over the course of the 50 years that it's been there. But it doesn't work too well for growing grass. Okay, so the football committee and the school's objective is to have a safe, natural grass playing surface moving forward. And some things happened in construction, got really compacted, topsoil wasn't graded properly, the drain along the west side of the field, the one that runs in front of the bleachers, where the bleachers were, where the bank got compacted, doesn't work, isn't functional. James sent me pictures of 3.5 feet of water, you know, filling up that drain. Water should drain into a drain, not lay on top of the surface. Partially because it got so compacted through construction, and water can't infiltrate the topsoil to get down to it. Lots of other things that went on in that drain, but the subsurface underneath the football field is compacted at 100%. I would have probably liked to have seen it at about 85% compacted. We do have to compact it somewhat, but not to the extent that it was. And that becomes an issue because that water that falls, rain, won't infiltrate that hard surface without being able to get into the cracks and crevices, and there are no cracks and crevices. Then we put topsoil on top of it, backfill and all kinds of other things. I will say that I did test the topsoil and found the topsoil to be very similar to what was taken off, so there wasn't a whole lot of other material put in there to make amendments of it. Okay? Good enough for back? Okay. So my recommendations to you as a school board, to the football committee, are sevenfold. Seven steps, basically. One is we need to address the drainage issue on that short side of the field, the bleacher side. And Amos and I have gone back and forth. I think the easiest way to correct that is to just have 4 or 5 surface drains that would come to the surface and just then grade the surface back so that it would go into those drains along that side. Okay, so that would get drained into the pipe, they get it off the property or get it to wherever it daylights on the other side. The existing surface, when it was put back in, was put relatively close to some obstacles, fences, quick drop-offs on the far end, on the south side of the field. So I recommended, and I think the school, or I guess it had already, a change order had already been put through to expand that end of the field. So I went with basically 30 feet. Right now, if this line ended the end zone, up-off start, literally 18 to 24 inches off the surface of the, we recommend 3 running strides. Now, that's not a very scientific way to address something, but basically 10 to 15 feet for what we're talking about with high school athletes running at full speed in our football field. Basically 3 strides, so 15 feet would be a kind of a safety zone, so to speak, around any obstacles. Be that light poles, be it walls, be it fences, be it any obstruction on the surface or near the surface. So recommending expanding that 30 feet to the south end of the stadium, or to the south end of the field, and then that addresses all the fence issues on this end, because then the next step is to move the field, the existing field, 15 feet south and 5 feet east. Okay, so basically down and away. So from where we are, move it towards the road, towards the driveway, and towards the woods, 15 feet and 5 feet. Okay? Then that requires us to then, then the sub-base that is really hard compacted, originally thought we were going to have to maybe push that topsoil away to rip up that sub-base that's underneath it. After I looked at it, I think we can get away with some tools, just a subsoiler or some other implement that we can get in there and rip that up 5 or 6 different places, lengthwise, and a couple maybe across the field short way, the short way east to west or west to east, whichever way, and basically crack that hard pan that's down there so the water can infiltrate that. Yes, frost will do that eventually, but this will just expedite that process so that we don't have to wait for 3 or 4 years for the frost to get into that, to crack that, to allow water to infiltrate it. Then basically, like I said, regrade, apply an inch of compost or an inch of compost to the entire surface, rototill that in, and then regrade the field, basically making the crown 5 feet further to the east from where it is now, and it would be moving to the south end zone by 15 feet. That regrade, we don't need to regrade the subgrade or the subbase. With those short distances, I think it's going to be fine for the water to just continue to move. We feel like we can utilize the topsoil that's already on the site to expand that for the 15 feet to the south by decreasing the 2% grade that's there to 1.75%. We can also, I also tested and looked at, we have a good 12 inches of topsoil. Amos and I were talking about perhaps would we have enough if we dropped that to 10 and then moved, 2 of those inches down and reduce I'd rather keep the 2% and go to 10 inches of topsoil than to give up the 2%, but that's all in negotiations. And then basically, the field contractor that would be doing the regrade, we need to put recommended some pre-qualifiers in that so that we don't have a road contractor coming in to redo this for us. Need to have some references, just like we would for a roofer on our house or a roofer on the school, right? We didn't just hire somebody who said they had put a roof on. So we need some experience to do that. There are lots of ways to pre-qualify that, asking for previous references, previous fields that they've built, ask for any certifications that they have. There are actually certified sports field managers that are contractors as well, certified sports builders, sports field builders, that say that 3 times fast, that have gone through a certification process to do that. And we can put other pre-qualifiers on that as well. And then after we adjust that grade, come back in and either seed or sod to put turf on that, to put natural grass on it. My very short and quick recommendation is if you decide you want to seed, you will not be playing football this fall. On that field. It needs about 18 months if you're going to do it from seed, okay? Sod, we can put that down as late as probably June 15th, and still with the help of lots of irrigation and lots of water, we can get on there this fall and play safely, okay? But again, seed, you're certainly going to see a price differential between seeding and sodding, but you're also talking about a quality and a time span of play. Okay? Do you have any questions for me? I know if you haven't been up to speed on what's been going on, that may have been kind of off the wall to you, but those of you that I've been working with, Brady and all the other rest of the people of the football committee, I think that's where we were at the last meeting we had. Any questions for me? I will say that I'm not going to, you do have something in the finance part of your meeting from me, but I need to disappear. I have a 6 a.m. flight to Dallas tomorrow morning, so I need to scoot, and it's also going to be about 3 degrees on the way home. So, and I sat on 80 for 2.5 hours on my way up here today. It was really cool. One of my finer moments. I could see the Clintonville exit in my rearview mirror, and I couldn't see a crossover in front of me, so I just kind of sat there. 2.5 hours.
Oh, boy.
Right.
Any questions for me about the football field?
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it.
Perfect. You don't need these, right? You have.
But we're good. Thank you. Mark Turnley with the AC Valley Auditor Report. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over you there, Amos. Amos Rudolph, he's going to give us an update on all the bond projects that we have going on here in the district.
Hello. So I guess we'll start, we can start with the auditorium. The auditorium, I just got an updated schedule. It looks like tentatively they'll be looking at getting that finished up early March. So right now, we're just waiting on lighting packages, theatrical lighting packages. There's quite a lead time on all that stuff. We kind of knew that going in. We talked about it, so it's might seem like it's sitting idle right now, but we're just waiting on those. They're scheduled. I talked to the electrical contractor. He thought he would be getting everything buttoned up late February, so things were going to be showing up. He could get them all buttoned up and finished up in late February, and hopefully finish this thing up in early March. So we've been working with Inventec, Invention Land on their layouts, and I think that we finally got everything sorted out there. There's been some changes through the process with outlets and data lines and some wood blocking for televisions, and so we've been working closely with them. We have all of that sorted out at this point, and we're just getting the electricians, I believe, are up there today. They're finishing up the outlets so they can start finishing up the sheetrock. So the sheetrock should be going in. I believe the painter is scheduled for later this week to start painting the ceiling. So essentially, we'll be buttoning things up early March. So we should be able to get things finished up and in there. I know there's been some concerns and some some things, some hurdles we've had to jump through. Asbestos, we discovered there was some asbestos in, I'm going to call it the cupola, I guess, on the in the cupola. Some asbestos there and on the back wall above the rear entrance door. Been working with the electrical contractors and Invention Land on how we can get everything pulled back together without having to touch that asbestos. So we pretty much have that pulled together. The above the rear door, essentially, they were mounting some signage. And they can suspend that from the ceiling. They said they've done that numerous times. And at the cupola, there were some light fixtures up inside of the cupola. Those are mounted on a plywood, so there's no issue with that. We're going to replace those light fixtures in kind. We won't disturb the asbestos. There are some can lights, and there is a meeting with the electrical contractor and lighting rep. We think we found a retrofit that we could fit inside those can lights, so we don't have to disturb any of that asbestos. So essentially, I think we've worked through that. We're pretty well have that buttoned up. So the cyclorama curtain and the green screen, the green screen, I believe we touched base with Invention Land. I don't know, were they providing that or were you guys picking that up? They are. So the cyclorama curtain is now going through the GC. It's going to be picked up by the curtain manufacturer. Initially, that was in the electrical scope of work. When we did some value engineering, we changed some of the light fixtures out. Remember, we initially bid that. The electrical numbers came in high. We were asked to do some value engineering. So we did that. And at that point in time, it made sense to me. Instead of putting that on the electrical contractor, we may as well have the curtain supplier do it because they do that. It's not out of their realm to do that work. So we pushed that off on the curtain supplier. I think it's a 13-foot by 48-foot screen. So that is, we've got that sorted out. That should be coming. To date, there's been some change orders through the GC. Not a ton. The cost, the change orders, essentially the change orders for any work that's not associated with the Invention Invention Land's work. I think we actually made some value engineering. We picked up about $1,600. So we have a $1,600 credit from what was bid, less the Invention Land items that were added because of the design and working through that scope of work. I know that you guys were talking about, at some point, were talking about looking at a construction manager. We're so close to being buttoned up. We've kind of jumped through all the hoops on this, got through the hard part of it. We're almost to the finish line. So, I mean, I think it would be kind of waste. By the time you advertise and find somebody, get somebody here, they're going to be here for a week or two. So, I mean, it's totally up to you guys, but I typically don't see construction managers on projects this size. I mean, typically like $6 million plus projects.
I think that decision was made because of somebody has to, right?
Okay, well, I can assure you that on the auditorium, as far as things falling through the cracks, I mean, this is the renovation of a building that was built in the 50s. And, I mean, the asbestos. I had 2 asbestos contractors walk through the site. I asked for, typically I have an asbestos report that I'll put in the specifications. You guys don't, unfortunately, do not have an asbestos report for the entire school. Typically I'll put that so I'll know where there's asbestos. I had 2 asbestos contractors walk through this, through the space. I had 10 or 12 contractors walk through the space during the bidding and the pre-bid meetings. Nothing was mentioned about any asbestos on those. It's just something that came up.
I don't think that was one of the major factors that played into the decision to have a project manager oversee this, was the asbestos. I mean, we know things like that happen. I think it was a lot of the other projects and just a whole combination overall with things that we now have to play catch up with, I think. So it wasn't necessarily the
Yeah,
asbestos.
as far as the auditorium goes, I don't see any issues with, I don't see anything. Unfortunately, the football field, there were some issues. Initially, we tried to, qualify the contractor. I asked them to jump through 1 million hoops to get, before the bids were due. They jumped through the hoops. The roof project, I'm not involved with. I know there were some concerns, and I think we talked at a meeting and addressed that. They're going to come back and get those things addressed from what I understand, as far as the roofing project goes. I think we've had a lot of good conversations with Jeff. I think we have a solution to move forward with the football field. To be honest, I think that what you have into that football field, cost-wise, I don't think it's costing you any more money for the work that he's done, and the project was definitely underbid. So for the work that you have done, in the long haul, I don't think it's costing the school any more money, even with the solution. And I don't think the solution, I know there was concerns initially to get this resolved, scraping all the topsoil off, rescarifying everything. For what we're doing, it's not a huge fix. I think it sounded worse than what we're running in, what we're going to need to do to get this football field fixed. So we'll be able to salvage the topsoil, respread it. We're going to build the end of that field up. The scarifying is essentially taking the bulldozer with a piece of metal that just runs through and scarifies that. So they'll run it across the field. 10-9, take the topsoil. We can build that end of the field up and spread it down there, get that resolved. The drainage line is in. We'll be looking at setting some 18 by 18 basins in there. We'll be able to handle that water. So I think we've got a good path forward. We're going to work with Jeff on getting some fine-tuned, items when we get it out to bid, and we'll make sure all the T's are crossed and I's dotted. And I think we've got a good game plan to get through that and get it buttoned up. So but I feel totally confident on the auditorium that we've, I don't, it's up to you guys, but I just
Right.
think you'd probably be spending some money that you don't need to spend. The electrical, there was some, okay, if you're talking about, there was some to-do about grounding on the outlets. When those outlets were installed, they were a grounded three-prong outlet. When they originally built and put in, they were grounded through the conduit. I checked with the electrical engineer, that's perfectly legal. It's perfectly legal, it's perfectly up to code, it's perfectly safe. So that was an issue that was a non-issue. We are using the existing house lights, and they are getting a retrofit. That was part of the value engineering. The cost for new house light fixtures, we wanted to pick up some savings. So we're putting a retrofit kit in. It's not just an LED light bulb, it's a kit that has all the controls and the electronics for, that would be housed in a new fixture. The fixtures themselves are in good shape, so we're just retrofitting those with new lights and a new retrofit kit. The fixtures will all be cleaned. I know there's bugs in them. They have to take those apart to put the retrofit kits in. They're all gonna be cleaned. They're gonna work just like new.
Will those kits work? I mean, that'll, I guess, upgrade those lights, or
What's that? I'm sorry.
will those retrofitting those lights?
Yeah, they're made to work with those lights. The manufacturer, the rep's coming down, I think the 29th through the 30th. He has to get some information off those fixtures, but they will work in dim, and they'll run right through those light fixtures and function, yes.
Now, the lighting panel up there, we were upgrading and replacing that, or?
We're reworking with some of the lighting panel, and there's some upgrades. Yeah, and all of that was, initially, if you remember right, this project came in, I think we shaved about $500,000 off of it was a significant amount of money from the first bid. Granted, we only had one bidder, and his numbers, he probably knew he was the only bidder. Word gets out when they're bidding. Reps, know if somebody's bidding or not. But we were asked to do some value engineering, which we did. And those were some of the things that we did. When we get done with this, you're going to have the system you're going to be very happy with. So, as far as any other electrical items, there's some change orders for some additional outlets and things like that were requested by Invention Land. So, I don't think there's any other issues on the electrical end.
For the asbestos, there was no testing done before bid packets went out to get an idea what was there?
Typically, I get a report from the school that has any asbestos that's in the school. And I always include those in the front-end specifications, make all the contractors aware of those. Unfortunately, you guys don't have that report. So, and I did, like I said, I had two asbestos contractors in the building, in the auditorium. We walked through the space. We got quotes. All that stuff was spent. I had 6 general contractors in who deal with that every day. And it was something that, I wasn't made aware that was asbestos, and the asbestos contractors didn't even mention anything about it, so.
And the retrofit for those lights, is that a change order, or is that a?
No, that's part of this, that's part of the base bid,
Okay.
yeah. And to be honest, I need to get make and model number for the retrofits if you're referring to the can lights for the asbestos.
Yeah.
I would suspect that there's probably gonna be some savings. I don't have, I have to meet with that meeting on the 29th or 30th, so we can get a model number and get that sorted out, and then I'll be able to pull some numbers together for that.
And do we have a timeline for material? I mean, you said the lights they're not back ordered, but they're.
No, I think they're.
And also the seating, I mean.
Yeah, the seating's not an issue. The light fixtures, I think he was I can't remember what he told me, but I think it was late 3rd week in January, something like that. So, and this was something we talked about that at the onset of this project. I brought this up, that that there could be some, we all knew there was gonna be lead times with these light fixtures. That's not a surprise to anyone. So, I mean, everyone kind of wanted to get started and get moving, and the contractor had availability, and so he got started, and now we're just kind of, we're kind of at that waiting point. When those fixtures show up, things will be rolling back together. There's been a little bit of holdup on the contractor from putting the drywall in, but we needed to get all the outlets and electrical in to take care of Invention Land. So we got that sorted out with them, got them the revised plans, and we presented those to the electrical contractor. I just got a change order for that additional work back from him last Friday, and we gave him the go-ahead. We gave them the go-ahead so they could get in there. They were actually supposed to be in there today, and they said they were in there today, so. The painting of the ceiling, we had the general contractor had to wait till all the conduits and the electrical work was done for the theatrical lighting. They're running conduits up above, overhead, and so the electrician needed to get those done, but we were waiting on shop drawings from the theatrical folks and the lighting folks. Shop drawings to approve. Once we got those, we approved them, but we had to sit and wait on those so the electrical contractor could get that stuff run. So a lot of this has just been kind of sitting and waiting on the lighting and the theatrical work. All that stuff is in now. Everything's ordered. It's just a matter of waiting for it to come in, and then I'm finishing it up. I think they were planning on painting towards the end of this week, is what I was told. I believe we just got James, we got that clearance from Burns, and I believe that was for their painting contractor. Let me see here. And we just sent off today. Paint and prep auditorium ceiling, it was scheduled for like 119. That's today, so obviously I think they were waiting on some clearances or stuff, but it's supposed to happen this week. And they'll be painting the wall, the frames, and they have to do some prep work, make sure all of the frames are clean and get everything prepped before they paint. But
Value engineering, what's your definition of that? I guess I'm not familiar with that phrase.
well, we were just trying to get the costs down and still get you a quality project. So, for example, salvaging those housings for the light fixtures and going with the retrofit light fixtures. There were some things that were changed around with the theatrical or the sound control panels and stuff like that. We sat down with the building committee and the lighting supplier and Doble, the theatrical folks, went through everything with them, exactly what they're getting, what you guys are getting. Everyone was extremely pleased how everything was going to operate and what you were getting. So we had that meeting. I think everything went well, and everyone was happy with what was what you were going to end up with. So.
Thank you.
Typically, we have meetings scheduled every 2 weeks, so once every 2 weeks. But I'm not that far away if someone calls or needs something, we bounce down. If there's an issue or something something comes up. We haven't been to that point yet, but I'm sure we've been down a few times during the auditorium prior to those few weeks, just verifying things, or Kelly's been down measuring something, but But we're just in that. We're just waiting for that stuff to show up. So, and it's all going to come together. We're to the point now where it'll all be pulling together and get you guys finished up and get out here in early March. So.
Do you have anything for the track back there?
Oh, the track. We are just waiting on weather, essentially. So the track folks, There's a little bit of milling that they need to do, and then they're essentially gonna be down to topping and painting and stuff. So the asphalt base and everything was put in, it's just a matter of getting the final topping and their final product on. I believe the temperature has to be above 40 degrees for a certain amount of time for that stuff to hold. So it's pretty sensitive to temperature. So as soon as they get a window where they've got a temperature, they know it's on their list to get down here and get buttoned up. But that's just a temperature thing. So
We have a bunch, did we have change orders for the track as well that still need completed?
I don't believe there's any additional change orders. There was a change order for some spring pads at the track, for some jumping spring pads. I don't believe there's any, we are talking about putting some asphalt, putting an asphalt lane down there. That was pulled out of the scope of work. But there's talk of putting that, with the work out front here in the asphalt. We're gonna look at putting a lane down there. There was also talk about lighting around the track, but I don't think we have a decision. The last I heard, I thought there was gonna be no lighting around the track, so.
I think we said from the get-go that we didn't need lighting because of the cost. There's no
Yeah, I think
point
I
in the
presented it
light.
in the budget, and then there was some talk of it, but we didn't include it in the last, initially it was budgeted, there was lighting budgeted for around the track. That was just in that, I pulled some budget numbers together last year, very quickly without any drawings or any sort of scope of work, so, and I think we had that included in that budget just in case you wanted it. But, as far as the track goes, I think all we're down to is, waiting on some weather and then getting you guys want that lane paved, get that lane paved. And a small, drainage ditch, there's a swale down there that we wanna put, a drain under the road for.
Then I believe the parking lot in the student pickup drop-off area down here at the elementary, we waited until next year, summer 27, to push that project, so we can get everything else done and buttoned up here.
Yeah, and we've got some preliminary plans. We've got some time to work on it. We were down and looked at, I don't know, last week or the week before. And we looked, there were some catch basins that needed replaced and some additional catch basins and drainage down at the end. But, I think, I got a set of plans from Geotech incorporating some of those things and some curb cuts, but we'll go over those again at some point, and we'll just we can set that on. I have the front end specifications kind of pulled together, so it's there. I knew it was talking about trying to get it out, so I jumped on those to try to get those front ends done, and Geotech worked on getting those layouts based off our meeting last week, so.
Anybody else have any more questions for Amos here about any of the projects going on within the district? Amos, anything else?
No, no, unless if you guys have any questions or anything, give me a call, but, yeah, we're just, be reassured, we're getting close to the finish line on this. It's just I know it feels like it's dragging out, we kind of talked about, and we knew this was gonna happen for the lead times. Unfortunately, that's all special custom stuff, but it's ordered and it's on its way, and so they'll be ready for it when it gets here, so.
Fantastic, thank you, Amos.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, under presentations, we have Mark Turnley with the auditor report.
Board members, thanks for having me here this evening. I just wanted to go over the results, the financial highlights from the 24-25 fiscal year audit that we just completed. I think you've been handed actually a bound copy of the audit report, and you may already have this page in advance, but right inside that audit report, there's a document dated for this evening. That's what I'll be using for my presentation. You know you have the right document about halfway down. It says General Fund Balance Analysis. So if you'd be kind enough as I go through the numbers to follow along with that, I would appreciate it. Just a couple comments before I get into this synopsis about the actual FIC audit report. Two things. Our independent auditor's opinion. Every year we're required to give an opinion report in the very front half of the audit report. And what we've given this year, similar to what we've given in prior years, is what's known as an unmodified opinion. In the old days, as I like to say, it used to be referred to as a clean opinion. And basically what that means is that the information provided in the body of the report is presented in conformity with the rules and regulations of our profession, and there are no departures. So in layman's terms, that's a good thing. That's the type of report you want PDE or any third party that wants to see your report to see. And then secondly, before I get into the synopsis, not only do we do a financial audit, but we're also required to do a compliance audit because you receive and expend over $750,000 on an annual basis in federal monies. And this year we did the National School Lunch Program, and in the back of the audit report, that thick audit report, there's a section dedicated to that testing. But what it does say in a nutshell is that there were no issues of material noncompliance related to our study of that program that needed to be reported in the body of the report. So again, that's one of the sections of the report that when PDE gets a copy, they look to that as well, and they will see that there were no issues to be reported. So again, that's a good thing. That's what you want to have. Fortunately, and it may apply to Allegheny Clarion, is, I don't know if it's for the 25-26 year, there's kind of a crossover implementation, or the 26-27. The threshold for having to have this compliance section raises from $750,000 to $1 million. So this year you were in around the $850,000 category. So if you stay there, you won't be required to have that compliance audit, at least from your local auditor, which is what I'm considering. The state will still come in from time to time and do their food nutrition audits, but we won't have to do it. And that's unless you get an influx of federal monies and exceed that $1 million threshold. So just to give you a little update on federal funding and that compliance test. Now just turning your attention back to the synopsis. As I do each year, at the bottom of the first page, I give you a 5-year history of your overall general fund balance. And the bulk of this presentation will talk about your general fund because that's the largest and most important fund here at the district. As you can see at the bottom of that table, over the last 2 fiscal years, there's been significant growth in your total fund balance. And I say total because I want to talk about the component parts of that total in a second. But you can see, and a lot of that has to do with the Western Secure treatment, tuition monies that come in, and some alternative education proceeds that were received by the district a couple years ago to help stabilize Allegheny Clarion's fund balance, which you can see it has, and it has increased to, as of the end of this fiscal year, $4,056,000. So at the top of page 2, on page 1 was the total general fund balance. At the top of page 2, I give you a breakdown of a section of the fund balance known as unassigned. And this is the portion that is available to be used for general operations moving forward. It's not assigned for any particular purpose. It can be spent as deemed necessary by the Board of Education. And you can see a 5-year history of this. Again, this is a component of it. So when you look at the bottom of this table, 24-25, you can see this unassigned portion is almost $610,000 of the $4 million that we talked about on page 1. The reason this is important in the state eyes is that in order, if the district ever had to raise their millage beyond the annual index increase that the state gives all school districts, you would have to pass a budget whereby this unassigned portion is at or below, in your case, 8% of your current year budget. So this year, before we made any adjustments, before management made any adjustments, your fund balance, this unassigned amount, was above that 8% threshold. But what most schools did, and what Allegheny Clarion does, is you take that excess money, which gives you some flexibility now, that excess money above that 8%, you can put it into an assigned category for particular purposes you may need. So this year, the excess that was above the 8% was moved into assigned for district renovations, capital projects. So it enabled you to, once again, be more flexible with your spending, the ability to stock money away for much-needed renovations at the school district, in addition to any bond issues that you may do in the future. So again, just gives you a little bit of flexibility. So I wanted to tell you that with regard to the 8%. Also, with regard to that 8%, not only does that meet the PDE threshold that I was talking about because of it, but also it is in line with your own board policy to have that amount. At the bottom of page 2, just for informational purposes, a lot of times clients will say, Mark, how does our fund balance compare with industry standards? The GFOA, which is an industry-setting body in our profession, they like to talk about an unassigned fund balance roughly to be 2 months' worth of expenditures. So I do the math for the board below, and 2 months of expenditures for Allegheny Clarion in the general fund is a little over $3,105,000 that they want your unassigned fund balance to be. But for school districts, unfortunately, what the GFOA does not take into consideration is you're kind of constrained by that 8% threshold that PDE wants you to stay at. But your overall fund balance, as I pointed out on page 1, if you really had to, if you want to think about it that way, you're over the GFOA threshold, which again is where ideally where you want to be, irregardless of the fact that the state kind of constrains you a little bit. So you're obviously you can see from page 1 your general fund balance is moving in the right direction, more healthy than it was 3, 4, 5 years ago, and we talked about the reasons for. And in comparison to this GFOA threshold amount, you're on the good side of that as well. So again, when you turn to the top of page 3, the second and larger component of your general fund balance is the assigned amounts, which I talked about. And you can see a history of that over the last 5 years. And you note at the bottom of this table for the 24-25 year, we have a new addition as a result of the excess revenues over expenses this year. We were able to put approximately $884,000 into the renovation construction projects. So that was an increase. That is what increased from last fiscal year. So again, all of these are prudent purposes to assign your money for, and once again, a large increase for this renovation and construction project piece. At the bottom of page 3, a 5-year history of the general fund revenues. I put an asterisk beside last fiscal year, not this year, just to remind the board of why you had such a large blip in revenues for that particular year. And we talked about it. That was the start of the increased year fund balance with the alternative education proceeds and the tuition from the Western Secure Treatment Unit. When you turn to the top of page 4, still staying with the general fund, a 5-year history of your expenditures. If you note those expenditures, the increase in expenditures, pretty much in line with the increase in revenues on the previous page for the 24-25 fiscal year. Very minor increase, 2.7%. And I just tell you, one of the areas where in the prior fiscal year again, which is when you got the alternative education proceeds, I just put an asterisk again to remind the board why you had such an increase in that year, just for the sake of recalling what happened in that year. On the bottom of page 4, as we like to do, take a look at how the board did in management general fund budget versus actual results. The first asterisk says that actual revenues exceeded budgeted revenues, which is where you want to be, that side of the equation, by about $400,000. The main area where actual revenues exceeded budget was in state source revenues by about $320,000. And there's various subsidies that the district gets, and so it wasn't constrained to just one particular type of subsidy. It was across the board in the various subsidies that you get. The second asterisk deals with expenditures. Budgeted expenditures exceeded actual by $240,000. 2 points with regard to that. That's the side of the equation you want to be on. You want your expenditures to be below budget. And also on a $20 million budget, $240,000 is very prudent budgeting. To be that close, budget versus actual, the board and management is to be commended for how close that ended up being for the 24-25 year. In your audit report, when you get a chance, I'm just talking at a high level now, the totals for budget versus actual. But at the very bottom of page 4, I just reference you to pages in the audit report where there's a detailed line item budget versus actual comparison, not only for revenues, but for all your major expenditure categories. There's 4 pages of budget versus actual information if the board looks at any particular area to see how you're doing. You can find it on those particular pages. And then the last page, page 5, a much smaller fund here at the district, nevertheless an important fund, is your food service operations. So I just give the board an idea of how the district did this fiscal year versus last fiscal year. That line, the second line down in that table, change in net position, that's just a fancy way of saying did we have a profit or loss for the year. You can see for the last 2 years, very consistent, a loss in both years. A lot of that has to do with what I call non-cash items. Depreciation expense on your assets was about $13,000 this year. A lot of that, for the most part, the district will operate at a break-even level, which is what PDE wants districts to strive for, to be around the break-even level. I noticed during the COVID years, a lot of my cafeterias did a lot better because the funding they were receiving through the National School Lunch Program was more over those years. But as that has kind of died off, most of my schools are returning back to kind of a break-even level, more around where Allegheny Clarion is performing. It has a lot to do. I see the districts that show a profitable cafeteria fund on a regular basis that I'm seeing now more than in the past is they have a significant number of students that are in the free and reduced lunch program. So they get significant funding from that. And you're not one of those districts. You're just not of that size. And then some schools, some of my schools who participate in the community eligibility program, CEP program, theirs seems to be above break even on an annual basis. But there's qualifications for that, and I'm not an expert in that area. But your school and with your makeup, you're probably just around where everybody else is in terms of how you perform. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And then the last 2 comments, or last comment at the bottom is, each school district is required to have a liability on their balance sheet. I'll call it like a corporate balance sheet that's embedded in that thick audit report that I gave you. But there are significant liabilities that are paid over time, but you have actuaries who calculate what each district's liability is at a point in time. So when we look at June 30th, 2025, you'll see those obligations at the bottom. PSERS, this all has to do with your pension liability, the first 2. Net pension obligation, $17,370,000. That compares to last year. And it just depends on the number of staff that are enrolled with PSERS. And that changes up and down. And it's not that, as I tell my boards each year, you don't have to write a check to PSERS tomorrow for $17 million. This is just an actuarial study, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, of what the value that the district would have to pay over time to make sure that all the retirees were properly funded. And PSERS, there's an OPEB, other post-employment benefits. That's through your collective bargaining agreements. When you agree when somebody retires that you're going to pay their health insurance for a period of time, there's an actuarial value to that too. And you can see those amounts. The biggest is the district's OPEB obligation of a little over $3 million. Again, not something that you have to pay tomorrow. This is something that you pay over time to make, as retirees retire, you're putting money, you're building into your budget to be able to pay those health insurance costs. But this is just at a point in time what those liabilities are. So hopefully I've covered all the highlights of the report. It's a thick report to go to, and I like to provide the board the synopsis each year just to kind of go over it as fast as I can with all the numbers involved. But if you have any questions at this time, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Any questions for Mark? Thank you, Mark, for your time. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
All right, we're going to go to board concerns. Are there any board concerns at this time? Seeing none, can I have a motion for letter A, from Todd Gallagher to fill the Hovey Township, Parker City, Armstrong County seat. Moved and seconded. I saw his letter of interest. I don't know, did the rest of the board see his letter of interest there? So Todd was unable to be with us this evening. He was at a basketball game. He wasn't going to make it here in time. But he's the only applicant we've had. I have no issues approving him after reading his letter of interest.
From memory, the people who volunteer are the best people. Just saying.
We'll just give you a pat on the back right now.
So any other discussion about that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So unless there is any other questions then about the consent agenda, can I have a motion to take letters A through M as a whole?
I'll make that motion.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of those items?
Just one quick item, update, we did add John Kaufman to this, he was waiting for a couple clearances of everything, he's ready to go. He's helped out with elementary past and
Also, ACV drivers, too.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Finance and purchase. Patty, can you do that for us, please?
Yeah, got a long one tonight. I'm gonna move to item A. A and B I'll put together. How about that?
You could probably lump A through G together.
Do you think I can get through G?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. I'll do A through G then. Approval of the authorization to pay bills for December and January. Approval for the fund balance report, payroll check register for athletics, cafeteria finance report, activities report for December. These are for November and December. First program report for November and December. Elementary activity account for November and December, and the elementary yearbook account for November and December. Move to accept.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Cafeteria report, Stacy?
I'll just very quickly, the two big things I have this month is I did receive 2 grants. The first one was for $3,074.18 and is to be used for local minimally processed food. And a training on how we are allowed to use those should be forthcoming this month, but I have not received that yet. And I also received a second grant for $15,000 to use towards DOD fresh fruit and vegetables, and our first shipment this past Wednesday. And it just feels really good to bring that money in and be able to get some of that stuff at no cost to the district. So those are the two really big things for me, and I'm looking forward to posting the position for head cook and getting that position hired. I'm really tired. I'm ready for some help. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Stacy. Item I, consideration to approve the contract from Tip Top Turf Solutions. That was Jeff Fowler's presentation tonight to manage soil testing, preparation, advise the nutrient and physical property assessments for establishing a natural grass football field for AC Valley School District for the amount of $8,500 paid by the bond. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Part of the committee. And a lot more than dollars. Recommendations, a lot less, better than what we were doing. $500.
I would agree with you on that one, Clifford. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Item J, consideration to approve the application payment number 2 for Triangle Roofing in the amount of $100,000 paid by the bond. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
just keep in mind that the requirement for and reevaluate that spring and go ahead. Quality of work is up. we did reduce that from 157 down.
What's the total amount left?
That overall bid for that roof was $375,800. We paid one payment already for, I believe, 85,000.
85,500.
Total after this is 185,000.
Yep.
Any other discussion?
Voting on it, right?
I think James would be the expert to discuss that area. They do have it,
I guess I was concerned, you were in the other day, you said looking for leaks. So,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it does leak, it's gonna be a while, just based on the decking that's underneath the roof they're putting on. We were up there last week and took some pictures. There's definitely some seams and stuff that need sealed up. I don't know, I supplied the company and the salesman and sent back a lengthy email saying that, everything was fine from that.
And David has been in contact with the roofing company, and we do have it in writing that, you know, if the roof were to leak and cause any damages within the auditorium, per their insurance that they have, their insurance will cover the repairs to the auditorium for the damages caused by the roof and by the work done on the roof as well.
Writing, tied to any salesman, company.
Yep.
I just want to say, like,
Sure, right. Gotcha. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Consideration
Patty, you could probably lump K through P together since it's all
K through T?
K through P, sorry.
Oh, P, okay.
Oh, we can go one by one too, that's fine. You can go one by one, that's fine.
Okay. That's okay. Consideration to approve the pay application for the ADA parking from Grossman in the amount of $77,703.50 paid by the bond. So moved.
Moved and second, any discussion?
Yes. It'll be all paid up. Yeah, it turned out really nice.
Yeah, I think it looks really nice. If anybody hasn't seen it yet, please drive it by there on your way out tonight. I think it turned out really, really well. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Item L, consideration to approve the application payment number 3 with Fred L. Burns, Inc. in the amount of $25,637.99 paid by the bond. So moved.
Moved and second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
Item M, consideration to approve the application payment number 1 with Wright Electric, Inc. in the amount of $268,650 paid by the bond. So moved.
Moved and second, any discussion?
From the way I understand the pay application, James removed it as well, or are you in the same agreement that this is everything that they've completed?
I don't know for sure what they did and what they're.
Pay them all out if they're done.
total,
Total was 930,000.
like, just shy of 30.
Well, they're down here at
Yeah,
E
this is where the site
also.
manager would be benefited.
There's MP. I think that's the only ones I see.
That's what we were told, they're pretty far along.
Payment number
This
one.
is payment number 1.
I would probably say, just at a guess here, based upon the work we've talked about that's already been done up there, this is probably pretty accurate for time and material, what they have in there. Right. Any other
I
discussion?
think was the goal.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Item N, consideration to approve the invoice for Fred L. Burns, Inc. in the amount of $1,350 paid by Vaughn for the final air testing in the AC Valley High School. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
That was after they had removed the asbestos on the floor. They had a third party come in to do an independent test.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item O, consideration to approve the invoice from Vincent Lighting Systems in the amount of $173,500 to be paid by the bond. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Okay, so we'll do P through S. Consideration for the change order for Wright Electric for $3,888.46. Consideration for the RFP for the project manager. Consideration to approve the project manager for the job description attached. And consideration to approve the Innovation Lab bill quote, the amount of $127,710.13 to be paid with the PA Smart Grant. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mm-hmm. That's,
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
portion of it, correct?
yes.
So for that project manager there, what is everybody's thoughts about, after hearing Amos, what's everybody's thoughts about hiring one, not hiring one? What are we thinking here?
It seems to me what he was discussing was separate from what is here, because this includes the roof. And the roof is the hang-up for me, because I agree.
That's why part of that project.
Their scope of work, correct. I think everything needs to work together. For example, if that roof leaks, the paint job is bad, right? So we got to get that all working together, so.
Now, David and I did work on the description for the project manager, and it definitely is tailored more towards the auditorium and the roofing project versus the parking lots and the dirt work on the football field. In my opinion, since we've hired Jeff to help with the football field, I feel like we're in a far better place. And coming from the industry, finding somebody that has a lot of background knowledge in industrial building and dirt work is very slim. You typically have to hire 2 different people for those. Right. Right, right. I just want to make sure everybody's aware that what we're hiring for is mainly auditorium and the roof.
Well, that would be an
Right, yeah, I mean,
extension,
if their
right?
skill set can fit into it and they feel comfortable and we feel comfortable with them, absolutely, we can, add on to that. No, this was, I think we kind of looked at it either by a project or by a day rate maybe,
Yeah, that'd be great.
is kind of what we're gearing towards. Because I don't know that we're necessarily going to need somebody on site every day, but 2 or 3 times a week, I think would be good.
More than once
Every
every
2
2
weeks,
weeks.
yes.
Exactly.
That was basically what was
At least everybody
Confirmed
heard,
every 2
everybody heard the
weeks.
same thing, so
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
every 2 weeks.
Communication.
Okay.
And it's not,
No, that was, but I'm just saying, that's a water-based.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item T, consideration to approve the change order for Fred L. Burns Cyclorama Drapery and the track in the amount of $12,046 paid by the PA Smart Grant as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item U, consideration to approve rescinding the motion to approve the football field project change order to Hiles Construction in the amount of $79,000. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
And-
So as a football field committee, we met, and after we talked with Jeff and Amos about some different ideas, we decided to remove that change order from Hiles and go in a different direction. The football field committee will reconvene and then have a plan and motions for the school board to approve at the February meeting.
For a contractor to finish that project up.
Correct, yep, yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Item V, consideration to approve paying Hiles Construction a final payment of $42,078.91 to be paid by the bond for the work completed on the football field. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
This is a recommendation from Amos. He did go through the overall bill for that football field. We withheld about $24,000 worth of work. This is work that he's completed. I did talk to Solicitor Shekel. He reviewed that information as well. They're both giving us a recommendation to approve the final payment and move on to the final phase of that football field.
What was his total bid on that? I mean, I guess we,
Yeah, it was,
That includes the 123 plus the.
Right.
yeah, just under 123.
that's what we paid him?
That was the original
Oh,
bid that he came in with, and then we had two change orders.
They're like 30, the hydro seed and the drainage. conditions.
Yep. Yeah, roughly.
So he's not gonna come back and fix the drain.
No, with providing this final payment, we're not going to have him come back and fix that. We're going to include that work for the new contractor to build off of what was already there.
And that's part of withholding the money from it.
I don't,
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, Amos and the solicitor looked over it, and they felt this is well within our scope. You know, potentially we could deduct more, but then we could open ourselves up to any legal issues, but they feel deducting this amount, we're safe, we're covered on all sides there.
This amount plus what we paid.
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
there any thought of tabling this till we actually get bids in from contractors to finish that job? I mean, at least for a month or so?
As far as tabling the final payment or tabling the rescinding the change order? Or, I guess we're on the,
Rescinding
We're on V.
the final payment.
Yeah,
so you wanted to table the final payment?
yeah, I'd be curious to see what the bids are to finish up that field. I don't know whether the feeling is that we try and hold him somewhat accountable for the rework that we're having to do with the drain.
In theory,
and-
we are with the withholding of the $24,000 and the work that didn't live up to our standards. And, you know, that's roughly a deduction of $10,000 for those drains. You know, $1,000 that he didn't set the goalpost, $3,500 from the overseeding, $3,500 from the fine grading, and $2,000 from the E and S controls, and then $4,000 for not scarifying the base. Yeah, well, that's what Amos is recommending, that we pay him out, get the goalpost, and separate, have a clean separation from this contractor at this time.
Were you able to have that smooth transition, like the same day?
I didn't get a time frame as far as when we're gonna get the goalpost.
Now, the relocation of the goalposts, It was, somebody's paying for that?
Amos and the architect are going to absorb that cost.
What about the oversight of how the field was laid out?
What was that? I didn't hear.
What's that?
What did you say, Bob?
What about the oversight of how the field was originally laid out? I mean, that's why I'm kind of curious to see what this, this rebidding's gonna be to finish this up.
Right.
Just throwing it out there. It'd be nice if we'd hold somebody accountable.
Right. I mean, we could table it. I mean, that's an option. My only concern with tabling it is if we do decide to go with Hiles again to continue the work that we want him to finish, that we're going to have more issues and we're just not going to get anywhere. We're just going to have more problems. Whereas if we can just pay him his final payment, retrieve our goalpost, and then we can go with a contractor who has a little bit more experience in working on athletic fields to hopefully get us a better outcome. So, I mean, right. I mean, can we end the motion to state
Yeah.
payment upon delivery of goalpost?
Yeah, we could.
Okay. I mean, if somebody would like to amend the motion to state final payment upon delivery of goalpost to ACVSD property.
I'll amend that. I'll restate it. So, item V, sorry, I scribbled over my number. Item V, consideration to approve Hiles Construction, a final payment of $42,078.91 to be paid by the bond for the work completed for the football field upon receipt of the goalposts. So moved.
There's nothing else he's holding that, I mean, the goalpost is hit, right? Okay.
And they have to be moved, right?
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Okay. Item W, consideration to approve the E-rate application for $18,895.60 pending the release of the fully funded E-rate money. Allegheny Clarion Valley School District will be responsible for approximately 30% of the total cost. So moved.
We have a second? All those in favor? Or, sorry, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item X, consideration to approve the following 4 state contracts for bidding purposes: PA State, PEPPM, CoStars, U.S. Communities, and KPN Keystone Purchasing Network. So moved.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Good? Okay.
They're all the same
yeah.
kind of
Basically the
thing.
same.
Different letters.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item Y, consideration to approve accepting the single audit for the school year ending June 30th, 2025, as presented by Mark C. Turnley, CPA. So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Item Z, consideration to approve a resolution where AC Valley School District will limit the tax increase to the state index of 4.7 as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. So this is not saying that we're going to raise it to, we're not going to raise it to 4.7%, but this is the max that we could potentially raise it to. I think Courtney had some rough numbers that she wanted to share with us.
I did. So based upon what we had already collected for this year's taxes out December, 'cause I don't have all those numbers in, it would be like an additional 167,000 upon what we had last year. 4.7. Yes. And the 3.5 is what the overall is, and it would be another 125,000.
It'll be before the preliminary budget or around April. We'll have that discussion.
And the finance committee will be working with Courtney on a couple different variations. Typically, we do no raise, raise it halfway and then raise it to the index. And she can give us numbers which should be pretty close to that there. But keep in mind, since we are in the 4 counties, it'll go up in 2 counties, it'll go down in 2 counties, based on that fair funding formula that we have to follow.
Does the state set the?
Yes.
That's different for each, that's like a flat.
It's different per school district. Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Item 8A, consideration to approve Brady Fight School Board President to all bank accounts currently held by the district. So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Would abstain from that one. Motion carries.
Item BB, consideration to approve removing Kelly Twilliger, School Board President, from all bank accounts currently held by the district. So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Personnel. Cliff, can you take us through personnel, please?
Okay, consideration to approve the request for employee 15 by 6 days, current with
Moved and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
consideration to approve advertising in-house for full-time.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve advertiser.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Apologies, Aaron. Consideration to approve advertising for a full-time Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency grant-funded school police officer position for the 25-26 school year. This position will be contingent on grant funding. The SPO position will be reviewed each year and added to figure budgets through PCCD grant funding. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve hiring Michael A.
Good job.
I wouldn't.
So moved. That's what she said. Sub upon receipt of all appropriate documentation as long-term substitute teacher at the vacated pre-K through 12 business technology teacher at West U. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve hire Nicholas Powell upon receipt of all appropriate documentation as a technology technician support specialist at the prorated salary of $44,368 for the remainder of the 25-26 school year. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Do we know when he'll be able to start?
I believe we have all his clearances on file, so as soon as he's released from his other job, he'll get started.
Okay.
He'd like to start tomorrow.
He wants to.
Perfect.
Or does Aaron want
Thank
to
you.
start tomorrow?
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
G, consideration to approve hiring Scott Kendall upon receipt of all appropriate documentation as an assistant varsity basketball coach as a supplemental salary,
Baseball.
baseball coach at a supplemental salary of $1,587. So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve accepting the letter of resignation from Bill Horbrink, maintenance tech, dated 1/14/26. So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Do we have an exit interview process or?
Yes, we do have an exit interview guide that we send out.
Okay.
We'll get you a copy of that whenever they get completed.
Thank you.
Any, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
I, consideration to approve hiring Brogan Gearhart upon receipt of all appropriate documentation as a maintenance tech at the prorated salary of $44,000 for the remainder of the 25-26 school year. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Same with him. Do we have his clearances and when we anticipate a start date?
I'm not sure when,
Everything's on file. He was our number 2 candidate from
Oh.
initial hire a month ago. He plans to, if and when approved, I will let him know. We'll put his 2 weeks in, so potentially 2 weeks from tomorrow. Bill plans to finish this week out and next, help with the transition, and potentially Brogan could come on, 2 weeks.
Thank you.
We held these interviews about a month or so ago for the other maintenance technician we hired. And since everything was still so fresh, we were able to pull from that applicant pool to hire for the resignation of this, of Bill Hurlbrink, who we hired about a year ago. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Diane, can you take us through instructional services, please?
Diane, I'm actually going to go ahead and do that, if you don't mind. Sure, no problem. A few shout-outs. We've completed our middle-of-the-year benchmark assessment, and I just want to thank all the interventionists and classroom teachers for making it go very smoothly. One of our goals when I came on was to make that process a lot quicker, and we have done that thanks to all of the teachers and their flexibility and the interventionists really working on the schedule. Our MTSS data analysis team used our early dismissal day to share and discuss all of those data results and talk about Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions with the classroom teachers. So we were able to organize meetings and meet with them as a group to share that information out. I want to thank Mrs. Best and Carla Funfer because they were instrumental in helping get our Firefly testing done during the same testing window. For our students, this provided online testing simulation for our mandated spring online PSA assessments that are coming. We were also able to troubleshoot a host of technical issues, and I want to say thank you specifically to Mr. Aaron Heil for navigating that and his quick responsiveness. As you know, we are mandated to take all of the PSSA tests online, so to run this Firefly simulation was really imperative to make that run smoothly, so that is our goal. So I just wanted to say thanks for Aaron because he was really on call throughout that whole testing window and still working some kinks out for us, so thank you, Aaron. That Firefly assessment provided our teachers with some strengths and some areas of weakness that we really need to work on, so we're devoting some time to kind of problem solve before those tests pop up in April. We also celebrated our students in our Falcon 4 PBIS initiative in our Quarter 2 school-wide bingo bonanza, where tons of students and teachers received prizes for their hard work and dedication to our Falcon 4. And just as a reminder to the public, report cards are issued tomorrow and should go out. And that is all I have for the elementary reports. Any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
I believe we have here. There's also about college school students flyer here for us from high school. We have an athletic report.
it's along with that same report Dr. Jordan left with you, Diane.
Following is girls varsity basketball, girls junior 5J basketball co-op, boys varsity and baseball co-op, 5 football co-op, girls golf, competitive and sideline cheer
softball co-op.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I have a question. Are we not co-oping junior high softball and high school? I wasn't at that joint athletic meeting.
Union had, was going to talk about at their meeting whether or not they wanted to move forward with those programs. Last I knew, they were considering eliminating them due to budgetary issues. And I apologize, I did not look at Union's meeting minutes.
I haven't heard from them.
So we haven't heard from Union's athletic committee whether or not they approved to fund those for for the next season or not.
So if we're not co-oping, then the way I understood it, they'll offer that program, Valley.
Yes, we would, that could be an option. Along with the other sports that we've done in the past, we would most likely put a limit on it, or a minimum on it, where if we don't have X number of students to participate in that sport, we just won't have it, because it just doesn't make financial sense or safety sense to.
Have to hire a coach.
Mhm. Right. So I would assume then sometime this week, Union's athletic department will be reaching out on, I don't remember when their meeting was. I can't remember off the top of my head. It might have been, I think you're right, I think it was Thursday.
Well, that's what I mean, and we aren't even sure we're co-oping. We don't even hire a coach
Well,
yet.
so they would have it for this season, it would be next season. Oh, okay. That they
It would
would
start August? Yeah.
Any other
All right.
discussion?
That's all I have.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Can we have a Western Secure Treatment Unit report?
Sure. Good evening. Our current enrollment at Westview is 24 students. We presently have 2 units, which are otherwise known as dorms, but we will soon be moving to 3. We currently have 22 graduates. Last October, we had 8 graduates, so we have come leaps and bounds. Some of that I contribute to the restructuring of the curriculum. We're doing more direct instruction, less on the computer. Students really enjoy that hands-on practical application. And also credit the teachers a lot for their connection with the kids. It's been very enjoyable to watch the students enjoy coming to school, and they really enjoy the teachers, and they're very inquisitive about learning and have some really good questions for when they get out. We have 3 GED students that have passed the GED. Keeping in mind, when you pass the GED, you can't officially obtain it until you're 18 years old. So recently, we had a student that passed, but he was only 16. So what we do is we have an acknowledgement ceremony, and then when he's 18, he will be able to access the GED portal and print off his certification. So it's pretty impressive that he could pass it at 16, because it is not easy. We have instituted numerous positive programs there. As you can imagine, a lot of their life has been, turmoil and negative. So it's one thing we are stressing in the academic and education side are positive things. So we started honor roll. We have a graduation celebration where they can pick the menu, which they really enjoy a lot. The GED acknowledgement ceremony, we do a student spotlight where we have a student that's selected for his efforts academically, behaviorally with the ACV teachers. We have positive feedback cards when someone does something good that we can write it up, and I give it to the teachers as well for being recognized for doing something positive. And we have our gym teacher who's very talented, so he's doing like an art club where he designs and he'll paint murals with the students. So I think I showed you one last year, but now he's working on some in the education hallway. We have the cyclical monitoring coming up next month, so we're hoping to kick up the education hallway a little bit. Also, numerous micro certifications for students, which they really love because they can take it to their court hearings and show them, and they're real proud of them. So very excited about that. We also offer OSHA, SurfSave, and we are going to start doing CPR in the health classroom starting the third 9 weeks. It's CPR / first aid. And this 9 weeks ends this Friday, January 23rd. And that's all I have. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. We have a federal programs report.
Sure do. It's a short one, though. The only thing new on the grant front was, or is, the PCCD grant that was alluded to during personnel to support our SPO or mental health specialists and/or our mental health specialists. So that new cycle of that grant just opened, and it was completed and submitted this week. So we are anticipating another allocation very similar to what we have, about $111,000 moving forward. And that's all I have.
That's good.
Yep.
Could we have a district report, please?
Yes, I do. As you can see in letter C, there is a process of handling safe-to-say reports. In addition to that, you received my phone call last week about a weapon that was brought onto campus. Just keep in mind that whenever the state budget's passed, there's a lot of negotiations and work that's completed behind closed doors, and that gets turned into school code. So there's a lot of work that was added into the requirements to continue to keep kids safe. And so we've already made the changes as of January 7th, part of Act 44 of 2025, Section 1303.2-A was added. And that's to establish a parent and employee notification system. So anytime a school entity finds a possession of a weapon on school property, we have 24 hours to report that. And I've notified all the administrative staff. I'm notified if anything's brought into school. And again, it was the situation we had, a student accidentally brought in a box cutter with an art project. A weapon shall be included but not limited to any knife, cutting instrument, cutting tool, nunchuck, firearm, and any other tool, instrument, or implement capable of inflicting serious bodily injury will be notified within 24 hours to our community. Notification is sent out even if there's no threat. It's just the possession of the weapon. And again, with that situation, we had absolutely no threat at all. And part of this school code is the fact that no personally identifiable information shared with the community as well. It's just a notification system. And then you'll see letter C, just, explain that during the workshop. But there is a state hotline. It's a Safe to Save report. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the administrative team here at AC Valley is connected to that system. So if there's any kind of concern as far as safety to the student or any situation that's going on, our students have the ability to make a report. We get text, we get phone calls, we get emails. One Sunday morning, I was cleaning gutters in my house, and, I got the text, and, we jumped right on it. And everybody's aware of it, and we get onto an online application, and we start processing that situation. And if it's on the weekend, we get the state police involved, if at all possible. We set up a plan to deal with that particular threat. And that letter C is just a detailed overview of our plan. And the one thing that they did add to that is, not only processing, assessing, responding to, but disposing of that report. So we have to come down to a conclusion at the very end of it. And, generally we do. We don't get a whole lot of those reports. We try to do everything we can to prevent any kind of situation from happening early. But that's just an overview of a couple items that I wanted to present this evening. And then in addition to that, under district report, we have that updated AC Valley logo that I'll get out. We have an agreement with Teal College for student teachers, and then again, our monthly report for student numbers.
Thank you.
Diane, that concludes my report.
So we need to vote on A, B, and C.
Yes.
Consideration to approve adopting the updated AC Valley Falcon logo. So moved.
Any discussion?
Just keep in mind, that's the AC Valley Falcon with the school district's name around it, Allegheny Clarion Valley School District, and everybody's seen it. It looks really nice.
Consideration to, we didn't vote yet.
Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
The consideration to approve the agreement with Teal College Education Department as attached. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
C, consideration to approve the Allegheny Clarion Valley School District Safe to Say programs, process assessing, responding to, and disposing of reports per the Pennsylvania School Code of 2025. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
I don't think we vote on D, do we? That concludes, we need the school police has their report here for us, and our special education report is also here for us.
Thank you, Diane. Bob, can you take us down through policy, please?
Policy A, consideration, do you want to do these all at one time?
You could do A through E since they're all second readings.
A through E, A, consideration to approve the second reading of policy 105.2. B, consideration to approve the second reading of policy 122. Consideration to approve the second reading of 122.1. Consideration to approve the second reading of 626. And E, consideration second reading of policy 913. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
And F, consideration to approve the first reading of policy 011, principles of governance and leadership as attached. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We have a facilities report, please.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. We got work for the main sewer line at the high school scheduled with Exeter work. Just kind of working with his schedule, the weather and whatnot, start of the year to get that work done. It's going to be within the threshold for the 3 bids. Going to try to sleeve that line with new pipe rather than digging it all back up, just due to the large amount of rock that is at the back of the high school. Kind of encountered a lot whenever we did the repair about a year ago. Whenever we did the repair that was out of the nurse's office years ago, it was redone, settled. We thought that was our initial problem. We were able to camera it again a few months back and found other areas where the terracotta tile has been crushed and shifted for the 60-plus years it's been in the ground. So we're able to get a new line in there, eliminate any hiccups in the future of issues that could happen. We are replacing the ice machine. It did go down. We were aware that it's not running. We were able to get some ice from Allegheny Grill for a couple weeks there before Christmas break. New one is ordered, hoping it was going to be here sooner, but we're still waiting for it to come in. As soon as we get it, we'll get it installed. District-wide, we had NRG Controls come in. That's company that does our building management for both buildings, so heating and cooling. We had another site visit that's kind of part of our service contract. They come in, I believe it was last Thursday, and kind of went over a couple things just to kind of get everything up to speed. I heard from the dealership for the new truck about 2 weeks ago now, so I'm hoping that's going to be in by the end of the month, potentially, and I'll get that up to Titusville to get the plow installed, and hopefully get that into service here again within the next few weeks. The renovation projects, Amos kind of touched on most of those. Really have much else to say about those. The track, again, we're just still waiting for that company to come in and mill that seam. They were supposed to do that over Christmas break, but with the snow, it was kind of put on standstill. And then just the resignation of Bill Hurlbrink, maintenance tech, and, hiring Brogan on, hopefully here in the next few weeks. Any other questions? That's my report. Thank you, Brady.
Thanks, James. Wes, can you take us down through transportation and miscellaneous, please?
Yeah, no problem. A, consideration to approve the request from Kelly Savanas to add a 2025 Ford Escape. And B, can we just do both?
Sure.
Consideration to approve the request from Kelly Savanas to remove the 2022 Kia Sportage. So moved.
Second. Any discussion on those two items? Just updating there. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. And then, Wes, could you also do miscellaneous for us there?
Yeah, no problem. A, Career Center report.
So we had a meeting on the 16th there. We still are without a director. We have an interim director right now, Ted Pappas. He's from the area. He's been superintendent, and so he's very well qualified for it. I believe on the 21st, they're going to start doing interviews for a new director. We had a couple local applicants and then some applicants from around the area. They're going to do those, and hopefully within the next 60 days, we can hire a new director at the Career Center. We have some kids going to some skills competitions across the state for various trades, various shops they have at the Career Center there. And we approved on a couple policies, and that was it.
B, Intermediate Unit report.
I'll take this since Carrie stepped out. Dr. Stallman, the executive director, is retiring, and we did advertise that position, and we have 6 applicants that we will be interviewing. I am one of the interviewers, as well as Carrie. She's actually spearheading that program. So Dr. Stallman has 1 year left, and we're hoping to get somebody in there to shadow him and learn from him before he retires.
C, Correspondence.
Nothing.
D, Technology Committee update.
We haven't met.
E, Athletic Committee update. F, Financial Committee update.
We haven't met.
G, Football Field Committee update.
Ballard, pretty much.
And H, Auditorium Committee update.
And we heard that too.
All right, thank you, Wes. Old business, we don't have anything. Under new business, we do have one thing that we need to add there. I need a motion for the cheerleaders to attend the Macy Days Parade at New York City there, since they do need approval here by the beginning of February.
Motion to approve the cheerleading squad to attend the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade this year, 26?
26.
It'd be
Yeah.
fall
Yeah.
of
Okay. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? It sounds like right now, as of what they need from us, they just need approval. It sounds like they're going to do all their fundraising themselves to be able to get there. I think it's fantastic for them to get approved, selected to go there. I think that's awesome for our area. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. That is it. And then, can I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody, for your time tonight.